Hello everyone, how are you doing today? I found something in the Old Testament, so I'm still not at the New Testament, but I'll get there. I wanted to start with saying something about apologists and people going on the comment sections on the apologists pages or channels. To me, it's more like a wrestling match that they're inviting everyone to, more than, in a wrestling match, and you got the two sides and they're both throwing punches at each other, both wanting to win, and then they both have their sides cheering them on and defending them. And it's almost like everybody else jumps in the ring also, and everybody's sitting there throwing punches. Everybody wants to win. It's one side against the other, and somebody's got to come out winning. And then if one relents, it's like the other side won. And it's just not so. Jesus was a little harsher with the rabbis, the false teacher rabbis, or the ones that just didn't understand. But Jesus wasn't going around inviting everybody to his conversations, It was him and them. And of course, I'm sure there are people looking on, but not always. And but when Jesus went to go talk and teach, and when the prophets went to go and teach, and everybody that Jesus had with him, his 12 apostles, went to go and teach, they went and taught. They didn't go trying to win, to be proven right. They didn't go into it wanting to win the argument. It wasn't about winning an argument. It was about winning souls. I'm not here to argue, so if any Muslim comes on here, or any Christian comes on here, Catholic comes on here, whoever, and they want to start an argument, I'm not even going to get into it, because one thing, everything I have to say is in my videos, and it could be that my answer to your comment that you're going to make is in another video. You can't say everything in one video, because as it is, most people don't want more than a 10-minute, 15-minute video unless it's something like those wrestling matches, or unless it's like a video with a bunch of, like a mini movie or something that some people do. So, I'm not in here to be right in the first place. It's not to be right. It's to share what I believe, so that either maybe they'll choose to start to think and understand what I'm trying to say. They can better understand why Christians believe what they do. Other Christians, maybe they'll see a different point, but I'm not here trying to start fights, start arguments to be right. I'm not doing this channel to be like, hey, look how many subscribers I got watching me. Look at how many likes I have. I'd like it if you guys would hit like, so that I could feel like, some people understand me, some people accept what I have to say, or some people, they get why I'm doing what I'm doing. That'd be nice. But I'm not in this like other people are, to boost their own egos, to fill their pockets, to pay their internet, things like that. I'm just here because it's in my heart that I feel like a lot of people whom we don't agree with are still, they're still nice people, and, they're worth trying to save, and God told us to go out into all the world and preach the gospel. He didn't say go out into all the world and prove me right. That's not exactly what he said. Anyway, so there's that. I'm going to read this little verse here to get us started. Isaiah 55, 8-9. And he says, "For my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways, saith the Lord. For as the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways, and my thoughts higher than your thoughts." So no matter what we might think, it could be that us trying to make God into something that we think he should be, those are our thoughts. Our thoughts are that he should be a certain way. Our thoughts are that he should be the way we've always been told by other people who were sharing their thoughts, and what they thought they told us that we should think. But he says, For my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways. And everybody's like, oh, my way or the highway, my way or the highway, with these apologists especially, my way or the highway. And even these apologists aren't even exactly explaining God the right way. They don't even have it all the way right, from what I've seen. I mean, there are some that have it pretty close, but their attitudes just, no. For as the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways, and my thoughts than your thoughts. So it's not exactly what we think, or what we've been told to think. We have to. So I've thought for myself. I go back and I read for myself, and that's what I want to share. Is maybe how I see it, but I still want you guys to go back. Yeah, you guys can go back and read. But my point is that, instead of what I've been told to think, I've gone back and thought, and I'm sharing those with you. Anyway, Genesis chapter 16 is where I am. And the angel, let's see, hold on. What is the ones I want to share? Yes, okay, I'm in the right place. Genesis chapter 16. I'm going to start with chapter 8. Verse 8. Now, we all know about Sarai and Hagar, and they didn't get along so well. Sarai ended up being jealous after she had shared Hagar with her husband. And all it did, just looking at Hagar, made her remember that she had shared her husband. And it hurt her, and it bothered her a great deal. So it wasn't so much that Hagar really that she didn't like. It was what she had done that she didn't like. And so Hagar was a reminder of that. And that's what made her not like Hagar so much, because of what she herself had done. But Hagar was hurting in all this, Sarai actually did cause pain for Hagar, because it was, it was Sarai who decided to share her in the first place. So I want to show you a little something in this chapter. And he said, Hagar is actually how it's pronounced, it looks like to me, but I'm going to go ahead and say Hagar. And he said, Hagar, Sarai's maid, whence camest thou? Maybe I need to go back to verse 6. But Abraham said unto Sarai, behold, thy maid is in thine hand. Do to her as it pleaseth thee. I think he was just like, fine, whatever, just do what you're going to do. I think actually he was getting a bit fed up with the situation. And when Sarai dealt hardly with her, she fled from her face. So Sarai felt really upset about this whole thing, and she ran. And now listen to this. This is not who we think it is in this verse. And the angel of the Lord, I'm going to tell you now, I don't really think it was an angel, but I'll tell you why. And the angel of the Lord found her by a fountain of water in the wilderness, by the fountain in the way to shore. And he said, Hagar, Sarai's maid, whence camest thou? Where did you come from? And whither wilt thou go? Where are you going? And she said, I flee from the face of my mistress Sarai. So she's saying she's running away from Sarai. She doesn't want to be seen by Sarai anymore. And the angel of the Lord said unto her, return to thy mistress, and submit thyself under her hands. And the angel of the Lord said unto her, now pay attention to this part here. And the angel of the Lord said unto her, I will multiply thy seed exceedingly. Now, the angel of the Lord did not say unto her, God will multiply thy seed exceedingly. And the angel of the Lord did not say, God said, I will multiply thy seed exceedingly. No. And the angel of the Lord said unto her, I will multiply thy seed exceedingly. Could it be that Abraham, having heard what happened, wrote that it was the angel of the Lord for confusion's sake? Apparently, I heard that this part was written some many, many years after it happened. So could it be that the people writing what happened here, or him writing it and somebody else copying it down, that they missed that it wasn't an angel? And they wrote that was an angel, thinking only an angel could have gone to Sarai? Why could it be that Jesus himself did not show himself to Sarai? And I'm going to show you in further verses why I think that. Let's go back. And the angel of the Lord said unto her, I will multiply thy seed exceedingly. Also, isn't that something that was said to Abraham? That God said, I will multiply your seed? Only God multiplies seeds, not angels. So that's why I'm saying it should have either said, God said, I will multiply thy seed, or it should have said, God will multiply thy seed. But it says that the angel of the Lord said unto her, I will multiply thy seed exceedingly, that it shall not be numbered for multitude. And the angel of the Lord said unto her, Behold, thou art with child, and shalt bear a son, and shalt call his name Ishmael, because the Lord hath heard thy affliction. Now, Ishmael means, where did I write it? It was actually Yishmael, and Shama means to hear, El means God. So it means Yishmael means God hears. Now, of course, it's like not like English. It's more like Latin or Spanish. So it was more like hears God. But it means God hears. So, first of all, there's a lesson in that for everyone, that God hears. God sees and he hears, and he will listen. If you call out to him, if you're upset, he hears you. And God will hear them too, if they go back and be more like Hagar. Hagar was willing to listen to God, and I think she was there crying and talking to God. Had to have been. And plus, God says he hears our thoughts even before we speak. So God went and he spoke to Ishmael, and he said to name her son. God hears, because God heard her. And the angel of the Lord said unto her, Behold, thou art with child, and shalt bear a son, and shalt call his name Yishmael, because the Lord hath heard thy affliction. So he said, call your son Yishmael, because it means God hears, and God hears you. It means the Lord has heard you. And he will be a wild man. His hands will be against every man, and every man's hands against him. And he shall dwell in the presence of all his brethren. Shall dwell in the presence of all his brethren. Did he go back to where he came from? And does it mean he's going to be amongst his own? Because she was Egyptian. Or does it mean that he'll always be amongst the Jews? Or does it mean something a little bit both? And, him being a wild man, he'll be against every man. They've always been against each other ever since. Always a fight for the attention of God. Always a fight for being the most important in God's eyes. Always a fight to have, always a fight to be the blessed one. Always a fight for the inheritance. Always a fight for the love of God. Who does God love more? In both sides, the Jews and the Muslims want God to love them most. That's true. They've always been fighting for that inheritance, that attention, that love ever since. And both sides don't realize. I could go into that later as far as finding the verses. But God says that there is no Jew or Gentile. There is no male or female. There is no servant or bond. There is no servant. There is no free man. They're all one under Christ Jesus, the Lord. If you accept Jesus as Messiah, they all belong to God. God loves everyone equally. And if God has a promise with the Jews to come back and reign for 1,000 years, it is my hope, and I practically almost 100% believe it, but I believe that God will bring the Muslims and the Jews together because they're still half brothers, and I think they'll all reign with him, those who accept the Messiah. Verse 13, and she called the name of the Lord that spake unto her Thou God seest me. Now you see what she just said? And she called the name of the Lord that spake unto her. Who spoke unto her? The Lord. She recognized that she was speaking with the Lord. And she called the name of the Lord that spake unto her. Thou God seest me. Is she saying your God sees me, or is she saying thou, you God, see me? For she said, have I also here looked after him that seeth me? So she's saying, have I also here looked at him who sees me? She just said. So let's read that all together. And she called the name of the Lord that spake unto her, Thou God seest me. For she said, have I also here looked after him that seeth me? Pretty convincing to me that who she is seeing is not an angel of the Lord, but the Lord himself. And she called the name of the Lord that spake unto her, Thou God seest me. Thou God seest me. For she said, have I also here looked after him that seeth me? Thou God seest me. Have I not here looked after him that seeth me? Wherefore the well was called Beer Lahai Roi. Behold, it is between Kadesh and Bered. But what does it mean? Wherefore the well was called Beer Lahai Roi. The well of the vision of life? Yes. But what does it most sound like? Beer Lahai Roi. The well of him that lives and sees me. I believe she is speaking to Jesus, and Jesus was speaking to her. It wasn't an angel. No. The one who speaks is Jesus. He's the Word. He's the one that speaks to everybody. But at that time, he wasn't called Jesus. It was really left for everybody to figure out. Because even in the New Testament, it says, by faith we are saved. So we have to figure that out. And we have to see him for who he is without the burqa, right? Let's figure out the burqa. Burqa. It's this. More or less this. Right? That's the niqab. The burqa, of course, does this. And all you see, you can't even really see the eyes. Right? So, it's sort of like what the burqa does. He's sitting there. He sees her. She sees him. But she sees him for who he is inside. Not for what his name is. Not for what he looks like. But for who he is inside. Isn't that what the burqa is supposed to do? That's what they say the burqa does. It takes away people looking at her for her beauty, for her face, for her loveliness, or maybe for her not so loveliness. They believe that that way, what they say will be heard. For what they say, not for being seen, not for being known exactly for what they look like, for their name, but for what they say, for what they think, what thoughts they're sharing. And maybe Jesus is saying, figure me out for who I am. Don't see me for your eyes. See me with your heart. And know who I am for what I'm saying. That's what the burqa is supposed to do. We're supposed to figure him out. So of course he's not going to say, I am God. He's going to say, listen to my words and know. So he's not going to sit there and say who he is either. So at first he was seen as an angel. And as she was sitting there talking to him and listening to him, she figured out who he was. Without him really revealing himself. She figured out that without him revealing who he was to her, she figured it out by the things he was saying to her, that he was the Messiah, and she knew he was God. Because the Messiah is a representative. He's the one who comes to represent God. So therefore, he is God to us, because we see God through him. And she called the name of the Lord that spake unto her, Thou, God, seest me. For she said, Have I also here looked after him that seeth me? Have I actually here seen the one who sees me? So she named the well, Him that lives and sees me. And who is the one that lives and sees her? God. El. The well of him that sees me. And her son's name was Yishmael. God hears me. God hears me, she says, because his name is that. Her son's name, Yishmael. God hears me. The well, he lives and sees me. And she said, Have I also here looked after him that sees me? Have I not here seen him who sees me? Who is he that sees? It just can't be any more clear than that, you know? I will multiply thy seed exceedingly. That's what he says. I will multiply thy seed exceedingly, that it shall not be numbered for multitude. And on down here she says, she called the name of the Lord that spake unto her. So she called the name of the Lord who was speaking to her. Thou, God, sees me. That's who she called him. So she said the name of the Lord who was talking to her. So she called the name of the Lord who was talking to her. You, God, see me. For she said, I have looked here. Here have I also here seen him who sees me. So she called the well, Him that lives and sees me. Have I not here looked at him who sees me? She called the well of him that sees me. She was talking to Jesus. That's the truth. Behold, it was between Kadesh and Bered. And Hagar bare Abraham a son, and Abraham called his son, which Hagar bare, Yishmael. And Abraham was 86 years old, which means he was 86 years old, when Hagar bare Ishmael to Abraham. So there, right there, it's not so not special, because even Hagar, the Egyptian, called out to God, which she had learned about from traveling along with Abraham. She actually became, more or less, Abraham's other wife, because they did get together and have a baby. She listened to his teachings because she went and she called out to God about her sadness, about the pain she was going through. And God heard her, and God saw her. He even went down and talked to her and told her that himself, that he hears her and that he sees her, and that through her there will be many, many children through her. She's also special, which means the ones that come from her are special, and they also are heard from God. They don't need to fight over who's more important to God. Everyone is important to God. Hagar was important to God, so important that God came down himself. God the Son came down himself to talk to her And let her know that he sees her, he hears her, and that she is special, and he will bless her too, because he heard her pain. Don't have to fight over who's most important, because no one's most important. God has to choose, Abraham and Abraham's seed for his plan to come to fruition. Doesn't exactly mean that they're more important. They're the ones who were chosen, but these people are still their half-brothers, They're still sons of Abraham. But they're really sons of Hagar, because he says through her seed, I will multiply thy seed accordingly. Calls it her seed. And the angel of the Lord said unto her, I will multiply thy seed exceedingly, that it shall not be numbered for multitude. But like I said, that's not really an angel of the Lord. That was the Lord. Why? I'm going to go over it one more time. And she called the name of the Lord that spake unto her. So she was saying the name of the Lord who was speaking to her at that time. You, God, see me. Thou, God, seest me. Doesn't mean you're. She's trying to say you. You, God, see me. For she said, have I here actually seen God who sees me? Have I also here looked after him that seeth me? Have I actually here seen God who sees me? That's what she said. Wherefore the well was called the well of him that sees me. Have I here looked at him who sees me? Have I actually seen God? That's what she's saying. She recognized him for what he said. She recognized him. Not because he was showing her directly, telling her who he was, but she saw him for who he was inside. For what he was saying to her, for his words to her, she saw him. So the Muslims always say, where does it that he says, I am God? Remember the burqa. He doesn't say who he is by showing himself directly, by saying it directly. He wants you to hear his words, hear his heart, hear his thoughts, and figure out that he is who he said, that he is who he is by his words and his heart, not because he tells you directly. He wants you to hear him for who he is. And that's my message for you all. I hope you sit there and think about it and receive it, especially if you're a Muslim and you found this channel. I hope you really give it some thought. You are special to God too. God does hear you and God does see you, and he wants you to call out to him and know that he does show himself through his son. He uses his son. He sends his son to speak for him. And that's the truth. God be with you.